Once upon a time, in a kingdom surrounded by green forests and tall mountains, there lived a princess named Snow White. Her father remarried a beautiful, but very vain and wicked queen. The new queen was very proud of her beauty and asked her magic mirror every day to tell her that she was the most beautiful. When she looked into the mirror, she would say, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And the mirror would answer, "You, O Queen, are the fairest of them all." As Snow White grew, she became more and more beautiful. By the time she was 7, she was more beautiful than the Queen herself. One day, when the Queen asked the mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" the mirror replied, "No one in this room is as fair as you, but Snow White, 1,000 times more beautiful than you." The queen became very angry. She couldn't bear the thought that Snow White was more beautiful than her. Her jealousy grew every day, and she decided that she must get rid of Snow White. One day, the queen told the huntsman to take Snow White into the forest and make sure she was never seen again. But the huntsman couldn't do it. He left Snow White in the forest and told the queen that she would never come back. Snow White, completely alone, wandered through the forest for hours, feeling lost and frightened. But as night began to fall, she spotted a small cottage. She approached it cautiously and knocked. When no one answered, she went inside. The house was small, but clean and cozy. There were plates, cups, and spoons on the table, as if someone was about to return home. Snow White, very hungry, couldn't resist and tried a little bit of everything. Some bread, some vegetables, and a sip of juice from each cup. When she finished eating, Snow White wanted to sleep, but none of the beds were right. One was too hard, another was too soft, and the third was too small. Finally, she found a bed that was just right. She lay down and fell asleep. That night, 7 dwarfs who worked in the mines came home. They saw that someone had been in their house and began to ask, "Who sat on my chair? Who ate from my plate? Who drank from my cup? Who slept in my bed?" When one of the dwarfs looked at his bed, he saw Snow White sleeping. He called the others, and they all came in and saw her beauty. "Oh, how beautiful she is," they said. They decided to stay quiet so as not to wake her up. The next morning, Snow White woke up and told the dwarfs her story. They felt sorry for her and agreed that she could stay with them. In return, Snow White promised to take care of their house and help with the chores. The dwarfs warned her to be careful, as the queen might try to harm her. Meanwhile, the queen, thinking she had gotten rid of Snow White forever, decided to ask her magic mirror again. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" The mirror replied, "You, O Queen, are the fairest of them all. But Snow White, who lives with the dwarfs in the mountains, is 1,000 times more beautiful than you." The queen was furious. She knew the huntsman had lied to her, and Snow White was still alive. So she decided to trick Snow White once again. The queen made a poisoned apple and disguised herself as an old woman. She went to the dwarf's house with the apple and knocked on the door. "Take this apple, my dear. It will give you strength and health," said the old woman. The apple was shiny, red, and tempting. Snow White, drawn to its beauty, took it from the old woman and, unable to resist, took a bite. Soon after, Snow White felt strange. Her body became heavy, and she fell to the ground, fast asleep. When the dwarfs returned home, they found Snow White lying on the ground. They put her in a glass coffin, hoping that one day someone would come to save her. One day, a prince, who had heard of Snow White's beauty, came to the cottage. He saw Snow White lying in the glass coffin and immediately fell in love with her. He kissed her gently on the forehead. When he did, a piece of the poisoned apple fell from her mouth, and Snow White woke up. The prince smiled and said, "I have loved you from the moment I saw you. I promise to love and protect you." Snow White agreed to return with him to his castle, and over time, she grew to love him too. He was kind, noble, caring, and wise. They planned a wonderful wedding, and the wicked queen attended, hoping to see if Snow White was truly alive. When she saw her, her heart filled with anger, but the prince had her thrown into a dungeon where she spent the rest of her days. Snow White and the prince lived happily ever after.